How does one begin to describe Franz Schubert?
Franz Schubert is flawless.
He's got 2 golden music stands and a silver chin rest.
His hair is insured for $10,000.
I hear he does rosin commercials in Romania.
His favorite composer is Mozart.
One time he met Dan Cooper and he told him he was cool.
One time, Franz Schubert punched me in the face. It was awesome.
Alright, enough gossip. Now on to the real facts. Schubert was born on January 31st, 1797. He was born to 2 lovely parents, Elizabeth Dietz, a homemaker, and Franz Theodor Schubert, a schoolmaster. He was their 4th surviving son and was raised outside of Vienna, Austria. Schubert enrolled at his father's school at age 7, where he was taught violin technique. His father soon realized that Franz had natural talent and a large understanding for music. As a young child, he learned to play the piano, violin, and organ. He also had an excellent singing voice. During Schubert's childhood and early years, Austria had problems with other countries such as France and Russia. The French Revolution and all the conflict that followed it occurred during his early life as well. Although they may not have had a visible effect on his music, it is definitely something that would have affected his life during his musical career.
Eventually, at age 11, Schubert enrolled at the Stade Convict, which trained young vocalists so they could one day sing at the chapel of the imperial court, and in 1808 he earned a scholarship that awarded him a spot in the court's chapel choir. His educators at the Stade Convict included Wenzel Verstudenko, the imperial court organist, and later the esteemed composer Antonio Salieri, who lauded Schubert as a musical genius.
Schubert played the violin in the students' orchestra, was quickly promoted to leader, and conducted into Ruzicka's absence. He also attended choir practice and, with his fellow pupils, practiced chamber music and piano playing.
Unfortunately, Schubert's voice broke in 1812, which forced him to leave the college. He was then pressured by his parents to become a school teacher at his father's school. He worked there for 4 years. However, he continued to write music the whole time. This is where Schubert proved himself to be an excellent composer. By 1814, the young composer had written a number of piano pieces and had produced string quartets, a symphony, and if that didn't already make you feel bad about yourself, a 3-act opera. Schubert came from a family of musicians, so from a very young age, Schubert was exposed to professional music. This musical background gave Schubert a gift. He was told by many of his teachers that he was a musical genius. This clearly influenced him for the better, making him want to pursue music in his adulthood and eventually become a composer. Schubert first played the viola in a family quartet when he was young. This had a large influence on his compositions at the time because his early music was written specifically for his family's string quartet. Since Schubert knew his family would be playing the music first, his goal was to impress them with it. Schubert went on to compose some 1,500 works in his short 20 years of composing. Style. In Schubert's earlier works, much of his music did not have much to it. People described it as having no dramatic power. His music searched for something more intelligent that distinguished him from masters such as J.S. Bach and Beethoven. An example of this is his first symphony, Symphony No. 1 in D major. This piece was impressive for its time in some ways. However, it was very bland because it had few changes in dynamics and musicality throughout all of the movements. Schubert was a master of the piano sonata, however, and in these works is where he showed his true colors. He was considered a great wealth of technical finesse. He was unsatisfied with conventional music and always wanted to create something totally new. So a great way to describe his style once he became a better composer would be different and always new.
It's obvious that Schubert's music is still listened to and played today. This is for several reasons. We feel that his music is very interesting and grabs the listener right from the get-go. He knows how to captivate his audiences and keep them intrigued, which is extremely important. We think his music is still so popular because it is very well written, interesting, and available for all different types of ensembles and solo instruments.